Hey guys. Okay guys, we got some beasts of Nurgle here. We're not going to see the box very well on the main screen for close-ups. So you'll see, hopefully you can hear me okay, but you'll see the box on view number 2, which is over there, and I'll try to do close-ups of the Beast of Nurgle as I put it together. But the reason why I'm doing Beast of Nurgle is we're also doing, finally, some Nurgle. So I'm going to use the Beast as the rot spawn. I'm going to do a little bit of converting. I'm not a big fan of the GW or the Forge World rot spawn. So what I'm going to do instead is a little bit of converting. I want to put a player number on him with hopefully with some of the bits from the box set here. But I've never put together a Beast of Nurgle, so we'll see how I go and get this done. So I'm going to do that first before I even open up this. I'm going to work on the Beast of Nurgle box. So without further ado, well, that's not going to work for us, is it? So we won't be using the big base. Instructions I may need with the new GW stuff. So what we're looking for is one of these 3 heads, and we're going to put a helmet on there so that you know, it's a Nurgle guy with a helmet. So get rid of glasses, they're for long distance. I say that all the time. Let's eyeball the got my snips. Let's look at the instructions here. It says take number 1, glue it to number 3. Well, why didn't they name number 3 number 2? Set these to the sides. Well, number 1. I have no idea if it'll fit on a 32mm base. If you do GW models or any type of modeling and you haven't gotten a pair of snips, I don't know what to tell you. I cast my own bases, so we're going to use that as oh wow, a lot bigger than I thought. We may be doing a lot of cutting on this guy. 1 to 3. Hopefully on view 2 you can see you know, where I'm clipping and stuff, which is kind of boring anyway. Well, it says it fits onto there, but it sure doesn't look like it does. Once again, I haven't put together a non-Blood Bowl mini for quite a while. There's a little ball there. Oh, I see the balls. Oh, okay. Oh, isn't that nifty? Okay. I'm just going to do some light tacking because I may convert the shit out of it. And I'm sure that watching glue dry is just what everybody wants to do today. So we'll see. The one thing I've learned Adam from Mythbusters is start using a little bit of baking soda. So doesn't take very much. But it'll instantly glue your model, but it also will add something for the glue to stick to. It's good and firm now. Because I've never put this model together, I really don't know how much I need to put on there before I start cutting away to fit on my 32 mil base. So number 2. And if I don't respond to your questions very quickly, send me another message, because I haven't turned on notifications, sound notifications, so I have to look up, and if I miss it, I apologize. So 2 fits there. This part, and this part. It goes right there. perfect there. We'll try it. The good thing with Nurgle, I mean, doesn't have to be perfect. I'm glad it doesn't, because it's not going to be. I'm just going to come right in with my box of baking soda. I mean, it's instant glued. I'm trying not to make a mess, but I mean, it's glued. I want to pour some of my baking soda into a little cup here so I can control it a little better. It's starting to show how it's going to work. It'll fit on there. It'll just be, you know, very tight. That's what she said. Looks like I need to take nine and 8. This is 11. Well, I'll need that here in a second. Maybe. May use that somewhere else. So 9 and 8. There's 8. Now when I get to the head, I'll probably stop and start green stuffing, sculpting. Not found number 9 yet. Ah, there's number 9. All the lights I have, it's getting very hot in here. I've added another light to the halo, and I still have strings of this light left. And those are no heat output, but then I've got a half dozen others, including this one here, which I don't think it's down, but anyway. screws on the tail. It's always good to dry fit them first. If this was any other model, I'd make sure they fit really, really well. But because it's Nurgle, I really don't care. I want 9. And I'll go back after I do the first assembly. I'll probably put some more glue and I don't know if you can see this or not. See if I can find me a tool to point at a little better. But you can kind of see it's kind of grainy here. And so once it's dry, I'll go in there with one of my files and kind of knock off the extra grains. Because that's just the baking soda. But it's so good at, you know, locking in those parts. Well, he's going to have a lot of trouble on that one little base. So I may end up cutting one of these to make him a little bit smaller. But once again, I've never put one of these together, so I really don't know, you know. So this is supposed to go here. That's still something I want, so I want to glue it. I remember when I first started putting together Warhammer Minis, it would take me an hour of just scraping the models to get all the mold lines gone. And I mean, honestly, this one here's pretty darn good, even if it, you know, wasn't Nurgle. And I'm just blowing off the extra. I'll sweep it up later. I mean, if you can save it, go for it. A box of baking soda's only $1 or $2. Hell, GW primer now is 20 bucks I paid today for it's supposed to be white, but he says it'll come out gray. I was like, well, then why did they say white? Like, whatever. Interesting. Wondering if that's supposed to be where it mounts to the base. Yeah, I think it is. See, there's something missing here. Oh, I've number 10 there. Which is fine, because I think I'm going to mount it like this, right on the edge. So I'll have to do some sculpting here, which will probably be the tail pieces. So we're going to skip 11 and 10, but I'm going to go ahead and cut them and sit them to the side. Number 10. And we're going to come back to that. Okay, sorry about that. Five with either 6 or 7. So let's find 5. Oh, that's pretty nifty. Might not use that at all. Myself, unless I really know the bits well, I go ahead and cut them off. Anything I don't use, I'll put in a Ziploc with the instructions. See, it's got like a mouth thing down there, but we're going to use the guts. So we're going to just leave 6 on there. Maybe I can incorporate that into his helmet. I don't know. Oh, I could use number 4, it says. I think we're going to stick with this because I cut it off. But I'm going with open wound for this team. And the baking soda is so much better than Zap-A-Gap because it actually has a substance, so it'll give it something to make your bond, you know, just something there. I would recommend an old toothbrush to kind of scrape it. I may have to put it here and sculpt over. It's got this opening right here, so I may have to sculpt over this to the base, and I may, instead of using one of my sculpted bases, have to use a different base. But for now, we'll make it work. I mean, it's just instantly nice and sturdy. Yeah, I'll have to get a old toothbrush or new one, can't find an old one, to use to cut this up a little bit. Now this one here, I could mount it like this, come back and cut through here, bring this over, and then sculpt in. It'd be a lot of work, where something like this isn't too bad. I don't know, I'll just keep working and then we shall see. I've got my little hacksaw. Okay, it's wanting me to work on the head now, but I don't want to. I'm going to skip that for a second. I'm going to jump to number 12, which is an arm. I'm always looking for what I can use to make it into a Blood Bowl character. I should have did a little bit of research online first, see if anyone else has. I'm sure they have. See, this would be a good place for a shoulder pad. Sculpt over this arm here. Yeah, this whole slug part, I think is going to have to turn and, you know, almost be up. So I like the detail on the bottom. So. Once again, you can really see it in the crevices here. Use the point right through here. Number 21. See, we got these, well, they're not shoulder pads. Find out what those are for. We'll make those into shoulder pads. They have some pretty good detail on the opposite side. It's pretty funny. #21. This one. This is his foot that I'd already decided to use for his other hand. I think it's supposed to be his other hand. There it is. I mean, it takes up 90% of the base. Just not sure what I'm going to do at the tail here. I think probably, you guys can see, I think what I'll do, point and stick, is I'll cut right through here, take this part here off, and then curl it so it's all onto the base. So when I glue it to the base, the majority of it will be here, and then I'll cut this off and make that, you know, the tail pieces that I have over here, you know, and that way I'll keep most of it. So I don't know if there's extra parts in the Nurgle team. We're just gonna have to hope. I could have used 23 instead of 21. So 22 or 24 for the other hand. So a big web for this claw. I'm gonna go with the claw. So I gotta do a zote. I'm thinking that webbed one would be nice for the zote. Do they make zotes? Hey, I haven't really shopped in a long time. I'm gonna take my knife. This claw's got a couple spots I don't like. There we go. Looks good. Dry fit. Oh, that is very cool how they did that. Sorry about that, guys. Had a visitor. So anyway, I was saying that we've attached his hand using that baking soda. It's going to be kind of rough, so I'm going to have to go in there. I don't really want to clean it up too much because he is Nurgle. We got a lot of pustules. Then we'll double check on the base again. And I'm just I'm thinking on the bases, you know, how other models going to be around it, you know, because you don't want them, you know, bumping all the time. So with this example here, you know, I can get models all the way around it pretty easily. Obviously in the front I'm okay. So it's just that tail part I'm going to have to do some cutting at. So let's put these guys back and let's work on that top part. That's the head they want me to put in there, but not really ready for that head. I'd rather have room to sculpt. So we have 3 heads to choose from. This one here would be the obvious one with the horns, because it'd be easy to sculpt into and lock into that, but this one's more rounded. But I like the one eye. I think I'm gonna go with the single eye. I'm gonna go against what I just said. I'm gonna go ahead and glue it in there. I'll probably lose the horn. I don't like the horn. Let's see how it works. So I'm going to try not to glue that for right this second. I'm going to go into the piping. I might call it something else now. Oh, they've got a lot of choices here. So some tails and tentacles, I like those. We will use those in a little bit. But I really like the piping, or the noodles. I don't know what they are. So looks like 25 and 26. What a difficult model. I think all the GW models are very difficult anymore, but it's better than all the converting we had to do 20 years ago. 26. I don't see 26. That was 25. Ah, that's 29. 40, 39, 36, 28, 27, 31 and 32. But isn't that this that little thing? This little one over on this by the feet. Goes in. Oh, I see where it goes. An interesting place for it. But it gives you something that couldn't be cast. I am going to have glue on his head. Didn't want to, I'm going to. You'll see me lean over. I just don't want to mess up my table too much. So I need 33 and 35. Oh, if I wanted to go tentacles instead of the piping. Do we like the tentacles? They are nifty. You know, I think I am going to switch gears, put that to the side, and go with the tentacle crest instead. I like it better. I had to look at the box though. Which I'm sure is fun listening to me yell out numbers. So he says to glue this in first. It says it fits in there. And once again, I guess we're not really worried about it matching up too good. Too well. I think that's the. You know what? Do a lot of bit of. got this huge gap down here that I screwed up on. He's going to be unique, but not unique where I'm going to have to I'm on the wrong side. Get for not really paying attention, guys. And that definitely does not fit. Is there any others? I mean, there's no taking that off once I glued it. Oh, it actually came off. That either. I think we're gonna have to stop there so I could sculpt up, fill in that gap. Which they do give us a couple options. I think we're done with this one. Get that out of here. It says 38. I see. 38 is used to fill in the hole. So 36 goes right there. I see. I'm so smart. I thought it was weird that they were going to make us do so much sculpting. And I don't mind, but it's just weird. They weren't real obvious about this, but what you have to do is leave these big holes right here. And then what you'll do is you'll go in with kind of plug them with other tentacles. Oh, I'd like to tell you guys that we're being sponsored by McMurdy's Burgers, almost 45% beef, but we're not. But I definitely recommend these signs. You can get them in 2 different places. You have the big signs, which are really good for farther back, and then you have these small signs like this. And anybody who wants them, just send me a message, just private message me, and I'll send you the Etsy link. I'm not selling them, a friend of mine does. He has a whole bunch, so we will set you up right. Okay, this is number 37. 37 goes on the monster's left side. The Beast. I wonder if we zoom out a little bit more, you guys can see. Well, it won't let me change it while we're streaming. My apologies. Oh, stuck it in there and it's actually stayed. I'm sure. Yeah, that would work. I always try to blow off the extra of the baking soda. So he's starting to get a full set of hair, but it's still going to leave this area here where I can put the football helmet. I'm going to bring it down, sculpt it sort of like how Michael did these. you really get a jumble. See, very little cleaning I'll have to go back and do. Well, once again, we got it to so we're still going to have to do some converting, because this tail here, even though it's starting to be out of the way, once I get him to a certain point on that base, it's going to have to be green stuffed, which is a shame. Probably just go straight across there. Probably about time for me to decide it's on the base and just do it. That'll allow me to green stuff what I need to green stuff. Yep, I think I'm going to go ahead and do so I've got this little banner I want up front. It really will save you a lot of time by using the baking soda trick, and it's a lot more, speed's a little bit there, a little faster. So his butt's way too far out. I might have to do some cutting here. That's not a big deal. I can come back and do that here in a minute. Okay, let us it's got more to put on. So 34 goes dead center. I'll do this one a little bit different. Not ready to put it on yet, but I want to keep it, get it cut off. I do this a lot of times when I'm selling models. I'll cut them so the numbers are still there. And that's it. But now we have the head exposed so that I can start working on a helmet. We're going to let it dry a little bit though, and I'm going to give it a good scrub and then come back and start working on those. I see. I just think that's going to be in the way. So I think it's going to have to be cut right here. And then either using this piece and losing this whole rear end, because this piece will merge into there. So that's probably what we'll do. We'll cut off his whole tail end here and replace that. Just because it's in the way, which is sad, you know. But it's not a beast of Nurgle, it's a rot spawn, so it doesn't have to be exact. And I won't show you guys me destroying this model as I cut it off, but I'm gonna cut it off right there and then come back in with this piece and curl it up, and we'll save that for something else. So for now, guys, I am going to pop off of here. Feel free to leave a message, and remember, if you want some of the Blood Bowl signs, or I don't think you can see the benches on the screen, but I've got a link to benches to Buddy's Etsy store, so all laser cut. Also have, which you can't really tell here, but because I'm doing a project where they're going to be one of those triple signs that rotate, so I had them special cut for me. Yours will come in a single, so just let me know. Talking to everybody later.
So I'll try to quickly Dremel cut this off. Big fan of the Dremel. Just plastic, it shouldn't be an issue. Dremel has a little tool to do all this. A little difficult to do by using the extended version here. I have to hold the button so I can unscrew this. Isn't the easiest thing to do. And then put the cutter in. So I know you can't see any of this. I apologize. I'm a miniature painter. I'm not a hopefully that will do it. This will cut your fingers, so be careful. Of course, I probably say wear safety glasses. But it's pretty fast. Hopefully now I can just pop this loose, which of course I cannot. So I'll just go back again with the blade's coming out. Which means I didn't tighten it up enough. And it's off. So now he's tailless. No big deal. Now I'm going to work at cleaning it up best I can. You don't always want the cleanest cut. That way your Sculpey has something to bond to. So I've got a couple things I can do. Which I can turn this guy here, which originally it was, hell, I don't know. Oh, originally it was like this. I can just flip it like this. But that's still kind of in the way. So I think what I'm going to do is just completely get rid of that and take this little bit of tail that was, remember earlier I said I wasn't going to glue that on yet. Glue that on something like this, and then sculpt in the rest of it. So I mean, that's not bad. So that way his ass is out of the way now, and the next model can come up and not, you know, he still has a spawn ass in his face, but you know, hey, you got to do what you got to do. So that'll be a little bit of sculpting work there, but I can get it glued on, maybe. I can get it glued on. And then I can just merge the two. Gotta decide if I want to fill this cavity up or not. I kind of like the not being filled up. But that makes a smaller model. Ooh. Get some Sculpey going. My Sculpey's probably 10 years old, so I'm slowly cutting it out of the package, but it still works. For some reason my yellow lasted a lot longer. Make sure you go back and if you see any of the blue, go ahead and take it right off. It'll make it last longer. But I always put it back in the tubes. Doing the whole little twist, make your mix that way. It's getting very sticky already. I try to wait as long as I can before I lick my fingers. And yes, I know it's probably toxic. I wouldn't eat it, but then again, yeah, I just wouldn't eat it if I was you. We're looking for that green color. Pull it apart. Since this is just a filler, I'm not too worried about being perfect on this one. My actual sculpting bits I will, though. That really adds to the weight. Let's switch over to you don't keep painter's tape? I don't want to tell you, I guess you could use some paper, but I like painter's tape for filling void. I'll take that, and we'll shove that into the hole there. And that'll give me something to sculpt to. Pulled off way too much green stuff. So before I get too excited, I'm going to take my extra blue, put it back in here, but I'm not putting it back touching the other stuff. I'm leaving that plastic in between because it may turn hard on me. That's what she said. Oh. So we've kind of filled in the gap, the void. Take that piece that I want to sculpt into there. Get rid of these glasses. Whew. Right about there is what I want. Because that way it's out of the way. Sculpting tools, which of course are not sitting right here where I need them. Could be anywhere. Great. Well, my friends, maybe short. No sculpting tools. I might have carried them somewhere else in the house. Notorious for putting stuff where they're not supposed to be. Definitely should not lick your blade, but I did it. Don't want it to stick. Gotta work this guy's butt in. Remember, we're not doing the actual detail work, we're just filling in the voids right this second. take your time. You got about 2 hours with the green stuff, that it's still going to be workable. Normally you'd see me with this sculpting tool, my favorite. I've had it for 20 years. I don't know where it's at. I'll have to go look for it. But all I'm doing is basically making the socket that the new tail is going to fit into. Nothing fancy yet. I just want a transition from what we've filled and what we're going to sculpt the detail onto. And it's Nurgle, so now, on view 2, you could probably see it the best. When you have it on the board, now another model can be almost up onto the base. You see? And when we surround it with models, you can figure out a way for a model to get up all the way around it. And it's not taking up that much extra space, in my opinion. So, take these Norse and Bretonians out of there, which I really do need to finish these guys up too. Maybe we'll do that on a future one here real soon. I got distracted with the halflings. Those of you that watch me do the halflings know what I mean. So I did finish 3 Bretonians. So I did about twice as much green stuff as I really needed to do. So green stuff's not cheap, but it's not, for what it does, it's not that bad either. So I'm trying to push the tail down a little bit, and then I'm going to come around from behind and give it a push back into the position I think it needs to be. Once again, you shouldn't be licking your knife. You should have a sculpting tool. And yes, I lick them because I think the saliva is the best to. You just need a tiny bit of moisture to keep it from sticking. I am taking extra precaution to make sure that I'm not licking the actual sharp part of the blade. Okay, let's finish out his butt here. You want to go about an eighth of an inch higher than you think you would, and then push into it, smoothing it out. Then I'll let this dry for, till tomorrow sometime. Then I'll go back and start sculpting details. Wrinkles and such. I apologize again if I'm not responding to your messages. I keep trying to check my screen. Oh. I'm kind of looking across here and seeing what they did. It really looks like they took their finger and made a lot of the texture over the wrinkles. And then to make a pustule, normally you'd have a small brass tube, but you can get away with one of these, and you kind of come in there and you just kind of, yeah, I'm going to have to need a brass tube to do this one. Yeah, it's not going to let me do it, which is not a big deal, just, you know, annoying. With my finger and put the texture in. Really didn't mean to sculpt this since I didn't have my sculpting tool, but it's doing okay, so I'm like, I'll just keep going. Yeah, I just found out that the new Warhammer, whatever they call it now, 30K? I don't know. But they did the Primarchs. I remember sculpting all the Primarchs. Everybody's like, oh, how are you going to use that in a game? I don't know, it's cool. Now everybody has them. So I'm working on this transition here. I thought it'd be a good place for a tentacle kind of coming off there. It'll kind of hide the transition. What I'll have to do, there's no real good way to show this, but what I'll have to do is get back in with the sander, a little sanding emery board, whatever it is, and work on this transition, because my tool's just not going to do it today. Okay, so we still have this area here. You know, this area here is, you know, it's not my favorite. You know, I might have to do a little bit of working on it, but I'll kind of come in here and fix this area right here. And it's not, you can see the skin, it's not smooth, but it's definitely not flat. It is very organic. It's kind of like split skin. Now, a lot of things can be hidden by paint, but lest you have to hide with paint, you know, the happier you're going to be. Someone sent a message. So we got this spot right here where, you know, it's a straight line, obviously. We got to fix that. So I'm going to take this little ball. I'm going to stick it there. And once again, remember, always go a little bit bigger than you think you need, because you can always take it away. But I mean, you can always add too. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of blend, make a transition. And then they've got all these little spikes. I don't know what they are. I'm going to try to make one of those. Just working, trying to get rid of any line. And ignore the color, because the color can give you a false sense of, oh, there's a line there, when there really isn't. So you see how these kind of make like a little tubey thing? We're going to fill up the old tubey thing. I'm going to make a new one right there. So I kind of saw where I want it. Just working the edges around, get rid of this extra green stuff that I've brought down, make sure my tool is clean, smoothing it out. Now I'm gonna get a paintbrush. Oh, there's my, found my tool. Ha! This is the tool I was looking for the past 10 minutes, laying right there. Now we can get moving. Get in there and make that. Love this tool. It's a little dental tool. Oh, thank you. I didn't read it fast enough, but I appreciate that. So now we brought our beast of Nurgle up, and he's got a nice little rump. Replace that. You can see how much we took off so that it fits in there. This part here, we'll glue his little tail on there in a minute. We're going to continue working this now that I've got my tool. That's a nice little sore there. A happy little tree. So we got a a little tentacle thing coming off here, and this fold here isn't too bad. Now that I have my tool, I can smooth it out. And I'm rolling that tool, and it'll fill those in. Now you see how that the artist that did it originally did these lines across there. I'm going to continue that cross, and I'm barely scraping the surface. Just giving it some texture. So now we got a nice little ass, which I've never thought about saying a slug has a nice ass. But you see the difference. If I can hold it up and see my screen here, now the model behind it, the base almost touches. And yes, it's just a human model. We take one of my ogres and we spin him around even. See how the bases touch? I mean, that's really when you're doing any model for Blood Bowl, you want to make sure their bases can touch, since the game board is so small. So, I mean, he's bigger than an ogre, but not by much. Definitely has his tentacles. We can work on that helmet. Now that I got my tool, I can use it to fill in some of these gaps. But I want to be careful that I don't touch this area until it's dry. I'm just checking around, looking for the gaps. And the good thing about this guy, he's got these tentacles and stuff. And I can lump those tentacles out. Now he's got a new tentacle that is hiding that gap. Bring that tentacle up a little. That way he's a little different than the next guys. I like tossing my little green stuff down. So what I was doing here is I'm copying this boil here, but it also hides that joint. I'm looking all the joints right now, making sure there's nothing that's really, I don't like this joint here. So we're going to take a little green stuff, and I've made a little sausage out of it. I like pushing it down into the line and then scraping it off. Pushing it down, scraping it off. And so it'll make a bandage. It gives you something you have to sculpt. I'm using the original artist's sculpt to kind of just follow that. Scrape it off. Remember earlier I said that the coloring will make you think you've got a line there when you really don't. So be aware of that. Alrighty. He's bandaged up pretty good there. Still doesn't look like a Blood Bowl player to me. He'll work as a Blood Bowl player, but I should have filled his head too. Got lots of green stuff left, but it'll be a pain in the rumpus to fill that up. But we need some shoulder pads, and you know, because we have to have something to put his numbers on. And I noticed on the sprue there's these two pieces here, number 14 and 20. I didn't see those on the instructions, so I'm gonna take a second and yeah, I don't see 14 and 20 on there at all. Did I just completely miss it? Oh, there they are. Oh, that's why there's a hole in his head, because that's the back of his throats. No big deal. We're going to use those as shoulder pads. So this originally was supposed to be the back of his throat, and I just completely missed it. And now it's going to be a shoulder pad. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's not exactly what I want. I want to wait on that. So make sure you guys let me know what you think of this Blood Bowl Pestigore here. Not Pestigore, Rot Spawn. Because I messed up, artist never messes up, right? I'm going to fill his mouth with some green stuff, so I have something to paint in there later. And so why I don't just jam a big ball of it in there is it's actually hollow all the way down through here. Remember, I used that painter's tape to kind of fill in there. I could have just started shoving painter's tape in there, which is probably what I should have done. It gave me something to build against. But instead, what I did was I'm reaching in and then pushing against the back of his, I'm just making a back of his throat because I was silly. There you go. Something in the back of his throat so I can paint on too. Oh. Is this the one that goes here? Remember I said earlier to make sure you use either Zap-A-Gap or the baking soda like I do. You're just going to save yourself so much time. I have to do a little scraping there, aren't I? Not a huge deal. Doing a lot of touching to his butt, so I think I'm gonna have to put him down for a while. Let him kind of dry. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to put him on a hold for the rest of the night and start assembling the other models, which we have whole box, brand new. So let's put the green stuff to the side. Got a little bit of time on that. Let's open up this box. Always have a trash can close. I mean, of all the GW games, Blood Bowl is really the most feasible to play. It's you know, $45 for a team. You can always split the box set with someone else. Each pay $45. Each get a board and all the templates. So, what shall we do first? A bloater, rotter, pestigore. I'm a big fan of the pestigores. May bust a box of chaos just to mix them together. And I like how they did this, and I dislike. I wish they had two different sprues. I know why they did it. Cost half as much, but I got duplicate models now, so we'll put one to the side at least. Lose the glasses. Quick drink. I'm talking too much today. Bloater A, I like him. Bloater B, he's pretty cool. Just not a fan of the pestigores. You only get two? Fine. Let's do Bloater B. Number 9 and 10. Pretty obvious. I don't know if you guys can even see this part. Probably should have it up here, you know, adjust the camera a little bit so you guys can see. Put these together. So we're going to use any head you want. That's nifty. Pretty standard though. We're not going to put a head on there currently. 13, 11, 12, 14. Hopefully the music's not too loud either. Usually someone says if it is. Well, 2, 4, 6 parts. 2, 4, 6 parts plus a head, which we're not worried about right this second. Dry fit. Always dry fit. Pretty nice. Anyone that's wondering what the little magic powder I'm putting on there, that's just baking soda, but it works just like Zap-A-Gap. Zap-A-Gap's just a liquid form of it, I think. It doesn't take much. Glues you right on there for you. I'm going to fix that while I've got it off. A little sanding. Otherwise, I'll be sitting here like this holding it forever. I'm going to fix the shoulder pads. A little attention to detail now fixes a lot of things. So I'm just kind of sanding over that since it's right there in the front. Magic powder there. Fill up that gap. Blow off the excess. Then I'll be able to scrape that flat. That way I don't even have to green stuff it. I mean, it's just done for you. Same thing down here, but I want to put the leg on first. It looks like I gotta trim this. Just try not to cut my finger today. Double check that. Magic powder. see all these, they did it for, I don't even know what you want to call it, for sculpting. I don't like that. I think I'm gonna have to green stuff through there. Magic powder. Thanks, Adam Savage. And you can rub that right out. See how it's smoother. It looks rougher, but it's actually smoother. Completely is hiding that gap now in his pants. For something that shouldn't have an obvious gap now, I've gotten rid of it. So let's look at this one right here. You can see it's obvious there. So I'll go in with my Zap-A-Gap. Hit them a little heavy. A little magic powder. And then I always just blow it. That's what she said. But then you just brush it off. But I mean, it's just completely gone now. And so what I'll do is I'll go back in with, you know, one of my files and smooth it a little bit. But I mean, it looks like it's bumpy, but I can feel that it's not. So we got something going on up here on his side. I'm not worried about it. I'll use paint to hide that. Oh. Said I wasn't worried about it. What do I do? Start messing with it. So now we've got him pretty much. Yeah, I don't like that gap at all. Yeah, go in there with the Zap-A-Gap. This time I want to kind of move it around a little bit. Before I hit it with my magic powder. So when he's staying beside, I mean, he's still, you know, a lot smaller than a Beast of Nurgle. Strength 4, Strength 5, so honestly, I think that the new Undead Mummies and the Rotters look so similar. I may take an extra thing of mummies and turn 2 of those into Rotters. I don't know. I got extra. I mean, it's a simple head swap and put in like the Nurgle banner on the bottom. Maybe putting the boots on there. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Oh. Or we can go to, I can use the, you know, the flesh golems as mummy, I don't know. Or a rotter. Let's see if we got a base for him. I might have to cast some more here soon. So when they come out of the resin caster, they're not always very well done. That one's not too bad. Front needs trimmed. That's what I told her. There we go. Then I'll sand, you know, this a little bit later. This will get me a rotor on there. Rotor. I think he needs to be pinned. Pin vise back together. If you can, with the pin vise, and you're pinning a model, go as deep as you can. That's what she said. But seriously, I mean, you know, if I can get, you know, my whole blade up in there without coming out somewhere, that's what I want to do. And then paper clip. What I'm doing is I'm kind of scoring the paper clip. And then I usually come back and I squeeze just the tiniest of bits. You squeeze too much. And I'm making these rings into the metal. What I'm doing that, or why I'm doing that, that gives the glue something to grab a hold of and keeps it from getting pulled out. So I'll test fit, pretty good. Some glue down the hole. Glue on the paper clip. Doesn't have to be a lot. Just lubing up the hole. Go in there, give it a twist. And then here's that piece of paper towel right here. Grab the paper towel. Oh. Take that extra off. Put it down for a second. I remember where I want the hole. I'm just gonna go all the way through. Starting to bump out. Good stop there. Just go all the way through. That's another reason why I cast my own bases. Gives me something to drill into, since the GW bases are not solid. Clipped it off. Check, make sure I like it where it's at. I don't. We'll fill that up in a minute. There we go. I got model. I cast them with this little banner on the front, so they look kind of like this. This one's not done painted, but you can see the banner on the front. And that way I don't have to worry about texturing the bases or anything. Now I'm gonna come back, give it a good glue, shove it in the hole, pull it out, do it again. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Some of the magic powder down in there. Not coming off now. We got 2 models done. So Granted, he needs a head. Don't we all? Welcome to the stream. Unfortunately, I've got to look at instructions. Pathetic. We're going to do rotor number 3, 26 and 22. But I can use a different head, it says. Bam. Here's 26. It's 24. Yep, that's not the one I want. That's 26. Pick 26 just because it's less to do, and since I'm wanting to do one of each real quick. Might have to get some bits from some of my old undead to use for heads. Got some cleaning on this guy to do. I'm checking all those spots that I just clipped off of. I'm checking all the spots I just clipped off of and trying to messed up his thumb already. Magic dust on his thumb. That way it won't break the rest of the way off. Looks like this guy's pretty simple. Just gluing on his head. Big fat fingers don't like it. Probably put the magic powder over here so I stop reaching in between the cameras. That was a real easy one to put together. Let's see if I have a base for him. Kind of a crappy cast, but I'm not going to pin this one. We're going to try this without pinning. Kind of in the way where I can't sprinkle the magic powder really where I wanted it. We're just going to have to hope that it's pretty solid. So we go ahead and put the head on the bloater. All happy with it. Okay. 16. It's supposed to plug in to that little square. I want his neck farther out. take my sculpting tool. I'm gonna fill in that hole. That's what she said. Make him an extended neck here. That way I have his head kind of up. That way, he just looks better than what's on the box. Running with his head up instead. Still. Okay. Pestigore. I hate pestigores. I mean, I really do. Better off sculpting one from scratch. But I'll do at least one. It says 30. So 30. 32 and 31. 32. I see 29. That is... I think it is part of it. Is 29 part of it? I wish you guys could answer me. Oh, I don't even know what that is. Hey, thanks for following. Hopefully I'll have a third of this team assembled today. Gonna have to take a lunch break here soon. Dinner break? Hell, I don't know. Well, I got legs on him. Not a big fan of these legs at all. Just ugly. So there's supposedly a cow head. That's why I can't find it. It's 28 and 27 put together, or 29. Oh, I do see a face on that one. That is so dumb. What's 28 look like? I do not like the little cow bell that's sticking out. Whatever, we'll try it. Okay. So there's a couple of cleaning spots we need to do. Ho hum, boring. I have to recommend this set of files. They really do a good job. With plastic models, not so much, but I don't know. They rock when you're doing the metal. Rock like AC/DC? Yeah, it could be. You know, I really need to adjust this camera a little bit. See if that works a little better for you guys. No? I mean, it's right in my face now. I'm just saying. But maybe you can see the assembly process a little better. Not painting today, so it's not like it needs to be super close, right? I mean, I can't even primer the guys until it stops raining. Alrighty. Do a little dry fitting here. Man, I just do not like these models. Maybe Forge World will put out something. It wasn't a GW snob. There's a lot of good companies out there that, you know, make alternative models. It'll take me a minute to get used to that camera being right there. That's why it's shaking. So, but maybe you can see a little bit better now. Still over here. Kind of boring when you can't see what I'm doing. So I try the multiple camera angles. Okay, so I don't know why it's got this little turkey neck thing hanging out there, but we'll dry fit the leg. That's pretty good. Boy, in the last, you know, probably the last 15 years, they've done leaps and strides with, you know, how the models fit together. I mean, there's very little gappage. Gappage, is that a word? It is now. But I mean, that's a real good bond. This looks more like a ghoul to me. Let's compare it to the GW Ghoul. I mean, that's so close. You'd make a good ghoul. I mean, it's not the same pose, but it's pert near. I mean, granted, they're strength 3, strength 4 with the horns coming in. See, I was thinking, oh, that's way too big. That's way too big. I had thrown it to the side last conversion I was doing. He definitely needs some sculpting done here so that, yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. And yes, I know they're pestigores and not supposed to look beautiful, but I don't know. I like the 1990 pestigores. Magic dust. I've got to decide if I'm going to put the other little bit that goes with it. I don't know what this little goiter thing is. I'm going to cut it off. That's pretty quick. See, just not a fan of it. I don't know. Let's see if I can find a base. Right?
I keep saying that, and I reach down this box, and I keep pulling more.
I should have been out of them a long time ago. They need to be sanded on the bottom, get rid of all this extra, but I don't have to do that right this second. This model's hefty. I may have to penny him. So once you start the hole, kind of turn and aim up. Now I can see it coming out right there. Hopefully you guys can see that too. So I want to stop and back up. So remember earlier I said I want to score this so that it fits up in there, and I'm just doing these little marks around there, little round rings, barely pressing on it. And if you cut it, just go lower. I mean, paper clips are pretty near free, but this will keep it from pulling out of the model. I got some from metal models that I had to break apart for conversion, and I'd done this technique forever, and they were hard to get out. A little bit on the metal, kind of lube up, force that down in there. Right as far as I can go. Remember last time I used that little paper towel to mop up the extra?
Even though I'm going to be putting some more on here,
You mop up the extra, and that way it's not a hard ball when you go to put it in this. Now I got a little pin in there. One's usually enough. I still go all the way through, even if you know, the pin won't go all the way through. Kind of nifty. It's got one leg kind of up. But if you don't like that, like if you want 2 spots, we can easily fix that. So I'm going to put a little bit of go for it. Put it in the hole, take it out. Put it in the hole, force the other one down to where you want it. A little magic dust. And it's on there. Well, we got, he's not all the way done. Still got to do his tail. Not happy with him. I mean, pestigores have horns, so he needs another horn here. We'll accomplish that by green stuff. He's got these little baby horn here, but that doesn't count. Might not be able to until getting a little bit in there. So I'm going to use the artist's he's got this little thing going here, and I'm gonna kind of copy that. Kind of come in there. I know how a horn looks. Work it around there and get me a good and it's just not wanting to stick. My green stuff may be getting old. We'll come back and we'll sculpt another horn in here. I think that'll look good. Yeah, don't like that. I know I said I'd come back, but I'm ready for it now. That's what she said. I'll work right into that little spot there. I'm feeling, because I know that there's a gap down in there, but I can also watch that big goiter there. I got plenty of space. And just like pinning the model, I'm going to mark we'll mark this one, but this time I'm going up a little farther because I'll be green stuffing over this. Green stuffing? You know what I mean, sculpting. And this will give it something to hold on to. Okay. A little glue. Move up the shaft. Stick it in the hole. You want to make it a little bit smaller than you think you want it. And I've glued my finger to it. So I'm holding it at this angle so I can kind of see how they did it. Not too worried about it being exactly the same. Because I'm going to be sculpting over that. And that'll give me a, you know, a similar horn. But since they're pestigores, we don't care if it's exactly the same. A little more glue on it. Get that extra off his face. Less I have to fix with the when I sculpt it. A little magic powder. Now I've got a horn started there. And that way he can actually have, you know, horns, not just a horn. And we'll do something similar. I may come in here and snip off some of the slimy stuff. I don't like it. I know they did it for, it was easier to cast, injection mold, whatever. But same thing with his face. I'm not a big fan of this, so I'll probably come back and sculpt over that. Doing my sculpting on this one here, and then when I do the next one, I may not do anything to it, but that'll give me two different ones of the exact same pose. And then I still have another head. I'll probably do a two-headed version and then use the one straight out of the box. I'm not a big fan of this gap here, so I'll probably fill that one too. But like I said, I think my green stuff is finished up. See if I can't it's just not sticky. Once again, I'm trying to copy what's going on over here. And what that does, it allows me to hide my seams and stuff. But with this I don't even know what kind of material that is. Just use your tool and kind of work it in there. So this is going to look like a rag or something. I don't know. I might glue something there. Gives it, you know, just something a little bit different. I think he also needs a tail. I think he needs a tail, guys. Once again, take your paper clip. Oops. And this time, before I do my little marks on it, I want to do a little bit of bending here. This part goes in. And then I know it's real hard for you to see while I do stuff like this. I'm just trying to get it to a different shape than just straight. This part's going to go in, so that's about right. So now I got a little piece of metal. I'm going to take the part that's going to go inside, that's going to be glued. Doing those little marking on them, and because I'm sculpting on it, gotta do marks on the whole thing, or it just won't stick to it. There you go. Now I've got a little tail. Too long? Too long. I just don't like the bend of it. There you go. I like that. Sorry I missed your message. Let me scroll up so I can read that. Ah, thanks. I'll let this dry like that. So now I'm going to be sculpting on a horn and a tail to this beastigore, and then he'll be good to go. This bloater's done. The rotter, just real simple. I'm double checking his feet, make sure that they were. Remember, I did not pin this one, so adding a little extra glue and my magic dust. And the good thing about the magic dust, you know, it's just there, but it's not going anywhere now. Beast of Nurgle, we did a lot more on this than I thought we would do, so I still need to glue his little tailbone on there. Where'd he go? see. Anyway, I should have glued it on there before I sculpted, but you know, it is what it is, right? Oh. Little magic dust on there. I think he's turned out pretty good even without sculpting on a helmet yet. I may not. Kind of like it. Just that conversion, you know, did a lot to him. We may have to come back and kind of fill that gap up a little bit. I always say I'm going to come back, and I do it right now. Figure that out. My green stuff's just about at its lifespan. But it was enough to fill in my gut. So anyway, so I still have to do sculpting on his horn and his tail here. So we'll let that completely dry before I start working on it. He's good to go, and he's good to go, and he's good to go now. Yeah, I don't see any other little bits, you know, that I really need to do. Okay guys, I hate to cut it short. I don't know how long I've been on, to tell you the truth. No idea what time it is. It's 8 o'clock. Went on here way too long. Thanks everybody for watching. And hopefully I'll be back on tomorrow to finish up these guys. Talk to you later.